Okay, greetings. Thank you for watching here on YouTube Live at Blooming Light at Bloomie's Tribe. And if you're logging in live, you're logging in on the original air date, which is Sunday, September the 1st. Yep, we're already in September. September the 1st, 2025. It is approximately 5:33 Central Standard Time. This is in Beaumont, Texas, in the United States of the Americas. But if you're logging in at another time and date, whenever you're coming in, just thank you for watching. Now, many of you, if you saw any of my lives yesterday, you definitely saw me have at it. Okay. And if you're not my channel and who I am and what I do, that could be something that you don't know what to think or feel about it because you have full context of what the hell is actually happening and going on. And so I'll give a little bit about me and my story in terms of all that I've unraveled a little bit. And then why do you see animal instincts? Trust your animal instincts. And then I'm going to talk about like the human condition and the programming and some of the contradictions that we currently have as a race of beings. Now, for an example, and again, all of this is my opinion. That's the beauty of social media. So, what I'm gathering over the years at almost the ripe old age of 50 is that on one end of the stick, the human condition, the human race, we like to believe that we are much more evolved than the animal kingdom. Okay, we do. We like to believe that we're, a cut above the standard nature animal kingdom. That's on one end. Okay, in terms of we think we have more critical thinking and more social and polished, evolved skills and so forth. That's what we believe. Okay, on one end. On the other end of that, okay, the opposite end, we actually act very savage. Okay, on the other end of how we think we're evolved, be above the animal kingdom. Then on the flip, depending on where we're at, what's happening and all of that, we're pretty savage. We don't have human, we lose grip of our humanity. We lose grip um, in terms of for the human race overall, like not just a select few or people that we favor and we jive with. Now, here's where I actually want to go. So, like I said, those of you out there that come on this video and you stumble across my last couple of lives, yeah, you're gonna see I was definitely, I call it letting loose. And once upon a time, because of what I believe to be the cultural conditioning, matrix programming, and some other things, those types of things are looked at as, now this is gonna be fun to play with for yourself, okay? Are looked at as, well, that's not, that ain't kosher or something along those lines. But we have a tendency to adapt to a lot more passive aggressive and covert versions of things. As long as you are polished and you keep it behind the scene and do all of your actually act out. Hear it good. Actually act out literally, okay, some of the things. And so that's something I feel like is a contradiction in humanity. I do believe the natural instincts or animalistic instincts that the matrix or whatever you want to call it, the controls, the powers that be, whatever words you like to call it, society, culture, whatever, okay? This idea of polishing everything is unnatural. It is. It's unnatural to a degree. Because somebody's going to say, well, you got to have a civilized society, but are we as civil? That's my point. Are we, though? Are we? Are we as civilized as we're acting? Or is it a show? And behind the scene, when nobody is looking, when our ring of Gyges is on, we doing a whole lot of something. And then when we get in the forefront or on camera, there's the polish. You don't see nothing raw. Now is just, you know what I'm saying, polished, prim, and pretty. But behind the scene, killers. Behind the scenes, when that ring of Gyges, the authorities or no one else that maybe they want to impress, okay, can't see it. Because again, the ring of Gyges. That's what I said. So are we really as civilized? Are we though? You have, come on. Come on. If any of us would do our research for realsies, come on. Watch the news, watch TV. I don't recommend doing a lot of that, but I'm just saying we're really not as civilized as we're acting. Okay, there's a lot of grotesque things happening to many people, and because of its covert passive aggressive nature, it goes unchecked, unlooked. But when people have raw expression, that's what everybody wants to pay attention to as a so-called flag. Wrong. In the animal kingdom, I was thinking about this today. You know how they just kind of seem to just know shit. Let me see this. Hold on. It's kind of fascinating. Is it gonna let me? Anywho, study, watch. You know, find an animal and you're gonna trip out. Like they just know. Like they don't have a program that they can take. You know what I mean? Like once they get of age, it's like in their DNA. Okay, like they know how to fight. Like if they're a predator, okay, it's something like I watch the cat. I watch my cat. He knows how to fight. When I play with his toys with him, and like it's fun, but doing different moves and stuff like that, I watch his moves. I'm studying him, and I'm like, how he put I call it the two paw cross and lock the nigga in, nigga. I was like, so who taught you that, Osiris? Because yeah, your mommy didn't train you. But my point is, it's instinct and it's natural. It is 100% organic, authentic, and it is natural. Okay, much like emotion. If you study if you study the animal kingdom, certain species, they're not trying to polish their emotion. They're not trying to, wait a minute, I think I'm on TV. They're not trying to go, oh, okay, like the way humans do. Now, please take this with some balance. When y'all come on here at some point, I do understand for the point of a civilized society. So let's not go to these radicals. But I'm simply saying, as a whole, a lot of what we think is natural isn't. And this is why I believe there's a lot of injustice as well. Because look, it's natural in the animal kingdom. Like I said, if they're upset, you're going to know it. Okay? There's not going to be a 3-point PowerPoint presentation. They're not going to have on a suit and a tie. They're not going to be calm and monotone. They're not going to be monitoring and editing. The words they say is going to be raw, passion, whatever they communicate telepathically, because I believe they communicate in that way. Because I'm like, how the hell do they communicate? But anyway, because I mean, that's just something I always wondered. Like, okay, do they just stand there like, hi, or like, what do they do? But anyway, they can, I believe, I can't prove it. You know, I don't have any scientific data, but you know, just things that I'm kind of assuming because they have their connections with each other. But they are not trying to alter their sound because they go by sound. You know, that's the thing about the animal kingdom is sound, their voice, their hands, like whatever they have. Thanks. And it ain't altered. Even expressions, if you catch certain things, it's raw, it's real, it's organic, and it's authentic and true to the experience. And when that is not being taken away and suppressed, you will have less and less people that are dressed up in suits and ties, but they're killers at night. You'll have less and less of situations like the American Psycho, where for all intensive purposes, he looked immaculate to anybody with two eyes. He was prim and proper. He had a degree. His house was immaculate, almost scary, to a point of scary. Okay? He had a career. All the people liked him. He had a reputation. All the people liked him. And he was a killer. He was a psychopath. He was going to get motherfuckers and it being weird. But he was doing it sneakily so undetected. If society, this is my opinion, as I said, I believe now with all things with a grain of salt and balance, because I do believe that's necessary, because anything that gets too whacked out on either side is potential problem. Okay, I do acknowledge that. However, I also believe that a lot of the prevalent undiagnosed mental needles that's there in society, all of the unaddressed, unrecognized, unrealized, hidden shit that is manifesting in the form of organized community stalking, human trafficking, kidnapping. You want to... all of the things that we like to pretend that we don't know is happening in the world today. I believe if we had more of that, or if that's something that had been implemented maybe in a more regular or healthier sense, to where folks are allowed to be fully present and to own that reality in that now moment and feel and express it accordingly without filter, with the exception of extremes such as acting out, because there's people that's actually crossing bigger lines than saying some things that's offensive. Like I said, racketeering, scheming, illegal surveillancing, and i.e. tapping into devices without, proper consents to do so, tapping into technology. So that's invading in somebody's devices and technologies and things of that nature. Entering premises without permission, without, all the things that we would like to pretend that we don't know about. attempting to create psychological war, creating an agenda. I believe that's a part of why that kind of shit exists in the first place. Because a bunch of folks in life, all their shit is suppressed, and they got to put on a suit and tie every day. They got to put on a badge and a uniform. They got to whatever role they're playing in life and society. They got to put on whatever this is for their wife and their husbands and their kids, and they got to put on, you know, a certain shit for their work, their business, everything. And after a while, suppression, repression, trying to go to the gym, because there are people that try to find healthy ways out there, but without making the connection of alchemizing the raw, whatever you're experiencing and feeling is there still. So people develop unnatural passion. I believe this is where crimes of passion could be birthed from too. All suppression, plastering on a face every day, performance driven, needing to be out. That's the whole thing. Needing to, we don't have no emotion. You do. That's why some are becoming killers now. As I was saying, I believe that that's why. Because sometimes we're not even self-aware. That's also what I believe about humanity. We like to believe we are a lot above the animal kingdom because of our stature. And, you know, we're paying bills and we got vehicles and, you know, all of those things. But it seems like sometimes animals are a little more self-aware, depending on the species of animal we're talking about, of course.
Oh, yeah.
The instincts, their instincts, okay, they're wounded, what do you do with that? Their instincts, they're happy, what do they do with that? They're, you know, instincts. I don't believe we should govern our whole life 100%, maybe in this plane of existence, per se. But boy, I tell you, how many of us could be honest out there about how we second guessed ourselves on shit because we didn't have everything in writing?
Thank you.
Or we didn't have everything in front of us that day, and you know, there was plausible reason to doubt. And it then comes out in the wash. How many situations have you ever found yourself in and something still ends up coming out in the wash and Eureka, you were correct? Because the way, you know, the way of the world is illusionary. It's the way of this plane of existence. It is what it is. Not what I've learned, not everything is quite as it seems. That's my point. Oftentimes things are what we think they are. One way or the other, whether it's on the, what you want to call the higher end. More often than not, sometimes things are actually the opposite. I was raw and uncut, and it was all valid. hmm When people don't know your life, that's why I made the disclaimers when I came on this live. You have all sorts of folks watching out there in social media. But when they don't know you, the behind the camera, up to what they're seeing on camera. When they don't know that, there could be a whole lot of assumptions. And not only that, it can be twisted by those who have an agenda and they need to cover up their shit. As well as people, one of the things I've learned about humanity in certain arenas is the populations or anybody who is getting free, whatever you want to call yourself out there. Any kind of folks out there who has lived a long life of being controlled and bullied and abused, and you start putting your foot down. And you start to speak up for yourself, and you start to defend yourself, and you start and even if you do it professionally, sweetly, nicely, at the end of the day, when it comes to the system and these types of beings, that's offensive, period, point blank. And they're going to ensure that they show you that they're going to retaliate because you have the audacity. They'll even come up with some shit with their crew because you had the audacity to, and we ain't even gonna talk about like you have the audacity to like play some kind of game. That's on their side. That you had the audacity to, hey, I'm attempting to remedy, blase, blase, blase. People don't know. That's the word. That's the thing about social media, though. But I actually have appreciation for raw. I'm gonna change appreciation. Cancel, delete, destroy, and create. Erase. Now that I know what it means. I'm gonna say I honor rawness. I acknowledge and honor people saying, hey, my family, we're being abused by a bunch of good, highfalutin motherfuckers who feel entitled to do so. And speaking, that's what I said about the fuckery and shit like that. We're not as civilized as we like to say we are, because behind the scenes, if certain things were happening to some of us in our families, some of us may already be in jail because we done already offed somebody because of it. So that's why I say a lot of this shit is nothing but a bunch of bullshit. We've been programmed with this, it's this passive aggressive, it's a different program. This nicety shit. Oh, I wouldn't wish any, that's a lie. It's actually a lie, though. It's a lie. It's a lie. We may not be facing that as a lie, but it is. At our core, when we're not dissociated, if you and your family is being violated and hurt and people are actually attempting at your life, you are not fencing to sing no damn kumbaya. You are not going to be, well, I just pray. Right. Until you live something out in real time, that's the only way you actually get to your particular truth. Until then, it's a theory. Until then, it's a theory. Once we live out, that's when we get our own personal gauge of how we will actually, versus what we like to hope and think and believe. If people are coming for you and your family in a real aggressive way, you're not wishing them gingerbread cookies. And that's actually natural. However, now let's take it a step further though. If let's say you're trying to investigate the things people are doing to you, right? At least they kind of put you in that position till you have to, because when you try to get any proper assistance, it don't happen. You're gaslit, you're took in circles, and it goes nowhere. It's getting to nothing. So let's say, you got to investigate. You got to look into it. You got to do, because you have to deal with the situation. Like, okay, they're stalking me. Who is this? Where are they? What are they? Why are they? That's natural. However, collective, whenever you come and see this video, because that's who I'm talking to, my legit viewers, and those of you who come in with sincerity and benevolence. Everything else, cancel and delete, destroy and uncreate. Cancel it out, no resonance. Lacking resonance. Erase. Now, to those of you out there, now the fine line that I'm talking about is, let's say, we go from that rawness to now behind the scene, we're conducting a plan. Now we're getting to, we're planning some things out. We're bringing some people to get involved, and these things in which we're planning and getting people involved are criminal in some cases, unethical, criminal, and you name it. To go and decide, I'm going to go find these families. I'm going to go and locate them, and I'm going to, I am going to, or whoever I hire, because some people do this shit by proxy because they need to hide their hands. Whoever I hire, okay, to do some stuff, I'm going to have them to go and, it's going to go from what I said to an application, a physical application. Those are the things that it serves to be mindful of, and that has to be kept in proper honor and perspective. Because now you're just not honoring your feelings. Now it's not I'm honoring the moment, and I'm honoring the injustice, and I'm honoring. Now it's not just feeling it, processing it, acknowledging it, saying it. Now it's, and I believe that I should be able to pull the trigger in the physical. Outside of self-defense, now, because I do add that too on many of my videos. I definitely believe in self-defense. Because ain't none of us gonna sit up, if we're honest, and let people willy-nilly and us not try to take them the hell up out of here because they came to try to take us the hell up out of here. You see that? That's self-defense. Just like it is with energetic stuff as well. Same difference. So, anywho, animal instincts. We're not that different. Send all of that shit to everybody who come in here with their shit. That's their shit. That's my decree. That's my declare. That's my command. That's my demand. Projections. Humans got to become self-aware because a lot of us can't even see that. Let there be light and there is light. Explico, abracadabra, let there be light and there is light. Explico all distortion. Frequency distortions, vibratory distortions, projections, rituals, words, chords, attachments. All of it. All of it. Let there be light. Parasites, energetic parasites, belief systems, queso it all, queso it all, queso it all. Ha. As a social media content creator myself, over the years, I consider myself an activist. I do, because that's the gist of it. I have some fun. I do other things as well, but advocating for folks like my son and me. Because we live in an abuse culture, and I am keenly aware of that. And in an abuse culture, everything is upside down. In an abuse culture, abusers are honored, seen in a highlight, and all of their dishonor is under some kind of a planetary band-aid, or I don't know. Meanwhile, their targets are often criminalized, and this is sickness to me. That is sickness. That's the definition of sickness. We're dealing with that though now. We're getting that straightened out. But because the reason why I said that is because we're in an abuse culture, I believe all the more does it serve us too. When you realize that this shit is upside down, topsy-turvy, you got criminals every day getting off scot-free, okay, big time ones at that. Big time. So what does it say about the judicial system? What does it say? Don't nobody want to go there. Nobody do. So since it's this way, I feel like it even serves us all the more we really need to be honoring. Because the systems aren't necessarily mounting up. Because if a decent person's not going to be manipulative with shit, they're not going to exploit the shit and twist and contort shit while simultaneously trying to hide their own shit.